Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, November 29th, the 333rd day of the year, and there are 32 days left in 2022. And welcome to another edition of Tuesdays with Thom. Well, the Christmas season is officially on and open for business, and from now until January 2nd, 2023, our days will be a mixture of work, play, shopping, catching up to old friends, family, laughter, and hopefully a lot of relaxation. It's called the Christmas season. Our G-list guests for the remainder of this Christmas season are Barbara Wallace Edwards, our roundtable regular, will host next Tuesday's show with an all-female cast on the subject of Title IX. And hopefully Barbara will be feeling better. She's a little bit under the weather today, but I'm sure she'll be good by next week. One of Barbara's guests will be the first female athlete to sign a athletic scholarship at Auburn University. Should be a great show. The following Tuesday will be our good friends, the Heat of the Night crew. What fun that'll be. And our final show of the year, December 20th, of course, is our good friend Santa Claus. And we look forward to having him. Let's enjoy the Christmas season. Well, the Auburn-Alabama game was played this past week, and as expected, Alabama won. Auburn went down fighting, as proud athletes and coaches should. Brighter days are ahead. There is hope. Earlier in the season, there was none. And when there is no hope, you can't possibly win. I don't know the inner workings of what all went on under the Harsin era. It just seemed to be a mess, and there was no hope. In the Arkansas game, in which I attended, it was obvious that there was no hope of winning the game. So, was interim coach Cadillac Williams the best man for the job? He was the best man to finish out this season. There's no doubt about that. He restored the hope. No, not that we would upset Alabama. We didn't have the manpower. The hope was that people believed again. They thought that if this happened and that happened, then maybe we'd win. Cadillac brought that to the team. He brought that to the administration and the fans. Cadillac maybe has a way to go to be a seasoned head coach, but he created a memory for his players, for Auburn fans, that will last a lifetime. That will be one of those, you remember when Cadillac coached the team, it'll be one of those memories. Our G-list guest today is the man Eric Jones out of Houston, Texas, and his 25 Songs of Christmas. Morningstar Media Group is producing the 13th season of its popular web series, The 25 Songs of Christmas. And we are welcoming Eric, who has been now with us for maybe our third season, I think. We'll certainly find out when he gets on. The show was created by Eric Jones and his sister Leah. Started as an annual Facebook post, became an award-winning web series. It won the 2020 Christian Film Festival for Best Web Series. 25 Songs of Christmas is a collective of pop culture, trivia, and pre-recorded performances from Houston's best and brightest arts community, and we welcome Eric Jones. Now, this edition of Tuesdays with Thom is sponsored by our partners, the Best Girl Consulting Firm. Best Girl has been providing customized solutions to executive issues for 34 years. Let's hear from Best Girl.
Best Girl is a consulting firm that provides customized leadership, access and inclusion, public relations, communications, and organizational consulting services. Clients include Fortune 500 companies, utilities, higher education institutions, small businesses, and associations. Best Girl's team of consultants, led by Joyce Gilly-Gossam, Emily Hedrick, and Sean Jones, partners with business and education clients to promote organizational effectiveness, communication, motivation, and leadership, with always an impact on the bottom line. Best Girl's customized consulting services include strategic planning, corporate communication, executive coaching, fundraising, and economic development.
Best Girl creates the solution that fits your needs. So let's get to our roundtable regulars, Barbara Wallace Edwards and Michael Walker. Good morning, you guys.
Good morning, TG.
Good morning.
Barbara, you sound a little rough, so I may have to lean on Michael a little bit more.
Go right ahead. I'm feeling a little rough, but I'm here.
This morning. So Michael, Hugh Freeze, you predicted it.
Yeah,
Your comments.
the freeze is on. I just felt like Hugh Freeze would. Well, I always said that my top three choices: Lane Kiffin, Hugh Freeze, or Deion Sanders. And through a process of elimination, I felt like Hugh Freeze would probably be the person that they would end up hiring. And the reason being was because of what he did when he was at Ole Miss. He led them to I think, their first 10-0 season in 40 or 50 years. He beat Nick Saban back to back, 15 and 16, in Mississippi and in Tuscaloosa. The other thing is that he's done pretty well with quarterbacks, and that's something we've been lacking at Auburn. And last case in point is Malik Willis, who was at Auburn for 2 years under Gus. Gus would only let him run the ball, wouldn't let him throw the ball, basically wouldn't let him play. When Bo Nix came, Malik Willis left, transferred to Liberty, and the rest is history. He's now in the pros as a backup quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. And we actually saw what Malik could do under the tutelage of Hugh Freeze. So I just kind of felt like that would be the guy.
I think a backup quarterback may not even give him the props that he deserves, because he is a backup quarterback projected to be a starting quarterback at some point, whether it's with Tennessee or whether it's somewhere else.
Yes.
He's having a good season.
Right. And I say backup because that's where he currently is, and that's how he's listed. But there are about, I think, 3 games this year that Malik started and played well, and his passes were accurate. Downfield, he really dropped some, as they say, he dropped some dimes on some receivers downfield and played well.
Okay. So let me tell me your summation of Cadillac's tenure.
Well, Cadillac did very well. First of all, he was thrown into an impossible situation. When you look at the atmosphere around Auburn football with the former coach, Harsin, I think there was a lot of dissension on the team because, first of all, we lost 18 players to the transfer portal from last year. And then this year, to compound it, Harsin lost half of his players that he brought in. So, football is just like a business. You can't manage and grow and succeed in business if you're constantly having employees going out the back door. And that's exactly what was going on at Auburn, not to mention when you look at the product on the field and some of the plays that he called, and I remember last year, our offensive coordinator, the guy from Georgia that was Mike Bobo, who wanted to come to Auburn, and he took the blame for a lot of crazy calls the year before. But I saw those same calls this year. So maybe Mike Bobo was unfairly blamed for and was used as a scapegoat.
You mean going for it on 4th down from your own 30-yard line?
Yes.
4th and about 7, you go for it?
Yeah.
You don't think that's a sensible call?
No, not at all.
That one, no.
And especially when you're in a tight ball game and you playing the team that's ranked number 1 in the nation at their stadium, and you're hanging with them. And so you're on your own 30-something yard line, and it's 4th down and 6 or 10, and you decide to go for it. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
And everybody's going, what's he doing? What's going on? Why is he doing that?
Nobody understood that one. That's
right.
crazy.
But let me say, I guess my summation of Cadillac is what I said in the beginning. I think Cadillac brought hope back to the program. And there was no hope.
Right.
I was at the Arkansas game. And you know how sometimes your team is behind or whatever, and it's getting like 6-7 minutes left in the game. And so you want to leave because you want to beat the traffic. So as soon as you get in the car, you turn the radio on to see if maybe your team came back with there was none of that with Harsin.
No.
It was obvious we were going to lose.
Right.
And I don't understand it, and certainly Cadillac was the opposite of Harsin, where Cadillac was all up and down the sideline, just probably lost 5 or 10 pounds a game, and Harsin just stood there with his arms folded, his shades on,
Right.
and
Right.
what's going on here? So,
and Thom, not only that, but Cadillac had those players inspired. They believed that they could win. Not just hope, but and then I think it just changed their whole mind. They said that there were kids who were not going to class, wasn't going to study sessions. All of that changed. They said it was, a complete turnaround from the Harsin era. That the kids wanted to do well, not just on the field, but also in the classroom. And 12 of the guys gave their life to Christ. 7 of them were baptized. And so Cadillac he was preparing them for life, just not life in football, but life afterwards. And I think was a huge difference. And he showed the players that he cared about them and wanted them to succeed in life. And that makes a big difference.
I agree 100%, Barbara. He definitely had them playing inspired football. You could see it on the field. The first game was against Mississippi State. They had 4 days to prepare for it. They got down 21-0, but they came back. And you even thought that they had a chance to win the game, and they did, except for a couple, bad breaks. But the thing about it was they never quit, regardless. And they ended up winning a couple games. I dare think that we would have beaten Western Kentucky 41-17 had Harsin been in control. I don't think that would have happened. We would have squeaked it out like we did against San Jose State and Mercer, which is ridiculous for a school like Auburn. And the other thing, this is another example. Landon King, 6'5", tight end out of Texas. They converted him to a wide receiver. He's the young man that caught that one-handed touchdown in overtime against Alabama last year. And they converted him from a tight end to a wide receiver. He only played 2 games this year. The last time we saw him was in Penn State when he laid all 6'5" out to catch a pass from TJ Finley and give us some hope. They took him out. He never played again. He entered the transfer portal. But you know what happened? Since Cadillac was a coach, he withdrew from the transfer portal. Yeah. So what does that tell you? So all around, Cadillac changed the mindset of Auburn football and the players there.
Well, I think he brought hope back to the team. I mean, if you ain't got any hope, you can't do nothing.
That's true.
And I think he brought that back. What do you think? So tell me, what do you see the future for Robbie, our quarterback? Apparently, Hugh Freeze did a good job with Malik Willis.
Yeah.
We don't know how much of a job he did with Malik Willis because Gus wouldn't let him play. So we just assumed that Freeze did this great job with Willis because Willis is in the pros now, and I'm sure he did have a lot to do with it. But
I will tell you
think about Robbie.
I think Robbie is going to have probably a good year next year under Hugh Freeze. And the reason why I say that, there's no doubt he has skill set. He has a strong arm. He's a tough competitor. I think he's mentally tough. He just needs to learn some of the mechanics of playing quarterback. But he's the exact quarterback that everybody has. Now, even the pros have gotten on board. And I heard Chris Collingworth say the other day that nowadays, if you don't have a dual threat quarterback, you're behind the times. And that's certainly what Robbie Ashford brings to the table. That pass that he threw in Alabama to the wide receiver, that was a dive where nobody could catch it but that receiver. He dropped it right in there as he was going out of the back of the end zone. That was a sweet pass. So we've seen, glimpses of what he can do with his arm. and we know what he can do with his legs. So I think the sky's the limit, with him. Unlike Michael Jordan, the roof is the limit. I said the sky is the limit.
Mm.
I think he'll do well with him. And just to talk about Malik Willis, I saw Malik Willis play in Atlanta. He's from Roswell. I was watching him play as a high school quarterback, and I was saying, this kid is good. I wonder why Auburn doesn't have him. And then Auburn ended up getting him, and then Gus did what he normally does, which is screw up any quarterback that stays with Auburn more than 1 year. And if you go back and look, any quarterback that came to Auburn that was good, if he stayed more than 1 year, he went on a downward trend. And that's what happened. So I think Robbie's excited. Yeah. He tweeted out yesterday saying, let's go. We've got unfinished business. He can't wait to get to go.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. That's good. I wonder how they will utilize Cadillac, how he will be. Do you think at this point, certainly he will be invited to be on the Auburn staff and maybe go back to be the running back coach. Maybe they make him an assistant head coach or something. But do you think at this point in his career, it would be good in the next year or two for him to maybe take over a team, a smaller division team, so that he can get that head coach experience?
Well, I will say one of you. It wouldn't hurt him. I think it would be beneficial to have an opportunity to do it in the long term. This was a small sample size, and it's hard to judge somebody on a small sample size like this. But definitely it wouldn't hurt. But I agree with you. I expect him to be maybe named the assistant head coach, certainly be involved in recruiting and what have you. And, yeah, it probably would serve him well to go to a smaller school and get some head coaching experience so he can add that to his resume. And then who knows, maybe one day he could end up being head coach of Auburn. But I think it would also serve him well to be mentored and learn from Hugh Freeze as well. Hugh Freeze has done well with rebuilding a program. He rebuilt Mississippi, and he did the same at Liberty. So there's some things that he can learn there as well.
For selfish reasons, Thom, I hope he never leaves Auburn. Again, I think that having him there makes a huge difference, and especially if he receives a promotion like an assistant head coach, because he brings something to the table that others can't. I mean, he's played there. He loves Auburn. He loves those players. And so, again, for selfish reasons, I'd like to see him stay there forever. And hopefully he can just move into a head coaching position from an assistant head coach position and not have to go somewhere else and get a head coaching position title at a smaller school before coming back to Auburn or to a major Power 5 school.
You're already predicting Hugh Freeze is going to get fired, then.
Well, or retire or whatever.
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
You're making your prediction.
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
Did you? I don't know if you guys saw when they were talking to all the stuff about Lane Kiffin. Somebody posted on Facebook this photo of Lane Kiffin, and it was like a headline: "Lane Kiffin's already been fired at Auburn." Oh, somebody was saying something. Who was it?
I was just going to say, I understand what Barbara is saying from that standpoint of Cadillac staying at Auburn and not having to go anywhere. The only thing that I differ with, and it's not so much as a difference of an opinion, it's just probably what I see from association with Auburn and how power schools are. Before they hand you the keys to the kingdom, they want to make sure that you can handle it. And just the way they make decisions, I think it would probably behoove Cadillac if he were to get some experience somewhere else, because the way they look at it is it's a high risk. It could be high risk, high reward, but Auburn is not a high risk institution. So
didn't Dabo do that? Didn't he just move it from assistant coach to head coach position?
he did do that, but you think about the time that he did that, Clemson wasn't really kicking butt.
That's true.
Okay. I read an article last night, and I probably will write this guy. His name is Joshua Perry. He was on a talk show, and he's an Ohio State grad, and he was saying that Lane Kiffin moving to Auburn is a lateral position. I take issue with that, and I'm going to write him and let him know that. But what I mean to further my point is another article that I read, it said Auburn in the last 12 seasons, only 5 other schools besides Auburn have won a national championship, have played for another one, and won a couple conference championships. And those schools were Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Clemson, and Ohio State. Clemson just came on to the radar around 2014, 2015.
Right.
Okay. Auburn has been there in contention. You go back to 2004 when Cadillac, Jason, and Ronnie was playing. Right. That's the year we really should have won the national championship. And it's the reason why they changed the playoff system as it is.
Right.
Because Auburn got shut out.
Right.
Okay. And so if you look at the history of Auburn, Ole Miss is nowhere in the mix.
Right.
So for Joshua Perry to say that's a lateral, that's ridiculous. And so I'm going to write him and explain the difference to him. So that's why I say, yeah, Dabo took the job, but Clemson was not up here. Clemson was down here. So it wasn't a big risk.
I see.
With Auburn, it's a little bit different.
I can understand that.
Thom?
Okay. Barbara, you got anything?
No, I can understand that.
Barbara?
No.
It's like everybody's frozen up here.
We're still here.
She heard you. She answered you.
We're still here.
Yeah.
Barbara, you got anything to say?
Well, Thom, not on that title, but I want to say congratulations to a young lady, Alina Wicker. She is a 13-year-old college student at, I think, Arizona State right now, who will be attending UAB Medical School in 2024. And just an awesome young lady. And for our viewers that don't know Ms. Wicker, please look her up. I mean, she's just a phenomenal young lady. And I won't spend a lot of time talking about her accolades and what she's accomplished, but I'm super excited for this young lady. We don't get a chance to talk about the positives, a lot that's going on in our society today, but she's the youngest African-American student to be admitted to a medical school at the age of 13. So that's phenomenal.
That's outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to hear that. So thanks for sharing that with us.
You're quite welcome.
Well, let me let's congratulate Antley and the South Carolina Gamecocks, because they had a great season. And Antley, congratulations. All right, enough of that. Let's see. So, Michael, let's shift to politics for a second before we move on. And Herschel. And Herschel it's been determined that Herschel has his residence is claimed in Texas. And he gets a tax break like we do here for living in Texas. But he's running for the Senate in Georgia. Yeah. Herschel just keeps stepping on his own toes.
Yes. Well, that actually was when Herschel was first nominated. That came up, but it was swept under the rug to begin with. And it's a homestead exemption is what he's claiming out in Texas. And then here in Georgia, he was also doing the same thing. And in Georgia, it's against the law for you to claim homestead exemption in Georgia and then claim it in another state. So
right.
that's part of the problem right there with that. So it's kind of one thing after another, but a lot of people kind of do that. They feel like they can get away with that. You know, in Herschel's case, it's just exemplified because of the other issues that he has endured. So so to speak, you know, or maybe I should have said it's amplified more, but it's made more of an example because it's Herschel. So, but I will tell you this, Georgia has set another record for early voting.
Wow.
Thus
That's
far,
good.
since early voting began on Saturday, up until yesterday, at the last update I heard, there was more than 300,000 people that have voted.
That's huge. That
So
is huge.
there's a big turnout. And something else of note, the turnout has been among African Americans thus far.
Wow. That's good.
That gives you an indication as to where the election is going.
Well, I think they do that Sunday church thing. You know, they go to the polls right after church on Sundays. And according to what I read, I think that was part of what turned everybody out, what is turning everybody out. You know, we're having some difficulty here. So if we go in and out, all I can do is apologize to our audience. You know, it happens from time to time.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear your response to Herschel, Michael, but I'm assuming that you were talking about the turnout. Which is,
yes, I was talking about that and the homestead tax. Yeah.
So,
okay, looked like Thom just dropped off again. Barbara, one thing I'd like to share with our audience at this particular time, you know, and you're kind of dealing with a virus yourself right now, and there's an upsurge in flu and COVID cases. I wanted to pass something along to people, you know, in particular, there are people in Florida and Texas. There are about 2 million people of low income that are uninsured, with the bulk of those people located in Florida and in Texas. And it's about 11 states that did not expand Medicaid. And a lot of people are caught in this coverage gap, where they do not earn enough money to qualify for ACA or Obamacare. But there is some hope. Even though you may not meet the threshold, and the threshold for this year for an individual is $13,590 a year to qualify for Obamacare, so that you can get subsidies and get your health care. As a matter of fact, if you only make $13,000 and $590, you will not have to pay for health care through Obamacare.
Wow.
Also the subsidies.
That's huge. Right.
Now, the way there's a little bit confusion because they ask you to do a prediction or forecast what your your income will be. So 2023, anybody that's in the poverty line of $13,590 or less, it's a good faith estimate of what your income will be for 2023.
Right.
In other words, if someone's making $12,000 or something like that, and they're told that they don't qualify for Obamacare or ACA, you can estimate that you can do part-time work or other things, and your income will meet that threshold. You can sign up for Obamacare.
Oh, wow.
And then if your income does not get up to that point, the IRS is not going to come back and take the money back from you.
Okay. Wow. That's huge.
So that's good for people that are uninsured. And for a family this year, a family of 4, the minimum amount of income is $27,750 to qualify for Obamacare or ACA. So the same thing applies with that. And this particular article, a gentleman from the IRS said that if your 2023 income turns out to fall short of that estimate, they will not face a financial penalty and not have to pay back the money, because the government look at it as a good faith estimate. And people that are working part-time jobs, low income or small businesses, it's hard to predict exactly what your income will be.
Right.
So
yeah,
that's
huge. That can make a big difference for a lot of people who are uninsured right now.
Yes. So they should go ahead and try and get insurance through the marketplace.
That's great.
Okay.
Great.
And especially in those 11 states that did not expand Medicaid.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey guys, I'm obviously cutting in and out here. So let's get to let's get to Sean, and we'll get to the G list so we can try to get in as much as we can. Obviously, there's some weather issues or something going on. So we can wrap this part up if that's okay with you guys, and let's move on to Sean and Got a Minute. Yep, we can.
Good morning. My name is Shantia Jones, and this is Got a Minute. Hello to everyone joining in with us this morning.
Okay.
Cool weather has been everywhere except South Florida. Yeah, I know. Florida is supposed to be all sunshine and rainbows, but if any of you would be so kind as to let Santa know, I'd like cool weather for the remaining holidays. Moving right along. Today is Tuesday, November 29th, and on this day, American singer and songwriter Michael Jackson released Thriller, which became the best-selling album in the world and won a record-setting 8 Grammy Awards. I can honestly say that Thriller is one of my most favorite songs, as well as videos. Michael Jackson is truly missed. Well, it looks like my minute has come to an end. Thank you all for joining in. My name is Shantia Jones, and this is Got a Minute.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see if we can get Sean on and go to Got a Minute. And if we can't, then we'll go straight to the G list guy.
It
just played, Tom.
Okay. Then let's go to our G list. Our G list is Eric Jones. Hollywood has the A list, and here on Tuesdays with Tom, we have the G list. Eric is here with his 25 songs of Christmas. This is the 13th season for the 25 songs of Christmas. Let's just get him on to see because we're having a lot of trouble this morning. Good morning, Eric.
Hello, Tom. Hello, Barbara. Hello, Michael. How's everybody doing today?
Everybody's doing well, Eric. Good to see you.
Good. I'm glad they mentioned about
Eric. I keep cutting out. So
okay. How about this? Is everything okay now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
We hear you.
All right. Fantastic.
But it may cut out. So
okay. No worries.
So let me let's start off with the questions. Sure. Michael, Barbara, you got questions for Eric?
Eric, I know this is the 13th season, and you and your sister Leah, I think, were the first to come up with this. Tell me, what was the inspiration behind coming up with 25 Days of Christmas for you all 13 years ago?
Sure. Well, it kind of all started out. Many years ago, me and my sister used to be drama directors at a local church, and we had some cast members. We were actually playing holiday music, try to get them familiar with the performance of that. There were some of the songs they're going to sing it, and we had a cast member that was in his late 20s and has been in church most of his life, but he said that he has never heard of any holiday songs. I'm talking about even basic, children's songs like Away in the Manger, Silent Night, Hark the Herald Angels Sing. He has never heard of any of these songs, and I was like, and I always made me wonder. So where did that come from? And maybe I don't know if it's a cultural thing or it's more of a exposure thing. But me and my sister, we've growing up, we've always been involved in choirs. We listened to holiday music. pretty much most of my life, and I've always wanted to know exactly where did those songs come from. I mean, who wrote those songs? What was the inspiration behind it? And they just became something that I've been working on probably on and off for the last maybe 20, 25 years. So I've been really just immersed in the beautiful history of the holiday songs and music. And the more I kept listening to it, the more I really started to appreciate it. And also I got a chance to really respect the songwriters who came up with the beautiful music and just the inspiration and the message and the story behind the songs, which is basically, we talk about, the birth of Jesus Christ. So, I mean, it's really it just all comes full circle. So, and it just started off as a Christmas gift that's for all of my Facebook friends. I said, hey, I want to give you some information about some of the songs that you love to listen to or you heard of. And it just started building from there. I've just been doing it. And then I think it was just recently, since 2016, we started videotaping our shows. So I just started.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, Eric, I was wondering, how did you decide on the number of 25 songs? And in addition to that, what was the criteria for those songs to be selected?
Oh, okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's a real good question. Well, we considered like the 25 songs of Christmas as kind of like a musical advent calendar. So we started from December 1st to December 25th. How we pick the songs, it usually depends because our seasons are all based on themes. Last year, our theme was all about love. So it talks about not just about romantic love during Christmas time, but the love of the love of the Lord, love of family and friends. And the year before that, we did something about we did a home edition because of COVID. So anything that had that theme that deals with the issues of home, like there's no place like home for the holidays or please come home for Christmas. It's those kind of songs. So we kind of use it as an element of theme. But this year's theme, we really wanted to expand and make it different this year. So we were excited that this year's theme is Christmas around the world. So this year's theme is basically holiday songs or Christmas songs that have origins that are from different countries around the world. So I think we represent maybe about 10 or 12 countries, including the United States. Some as obvious, as traditional and probably as diverse as the UK, the United Kingdom, to lesser known songs, some from Nigeria. We have Bethlehem from Nigeria. It's a Yoruba word, which simply means Bethlehem in Yoruba. We have an Australian song called "The Christ Child's Lullaby" that was written by an Australian immigrant. And then we just moved around to different parts of the United States. We had cities we represent: Minneapolis, New Orleans, New York, Los Angeles, and we move around. So this year's theme, we made it as if like me and my sister are traveling. We're on an international tour. We try to travel around just in time to make it back home to Houston. So we make it a lot of fun. So it's great to really listen to this kind of music and just basically find the origin of where the songs came from. And the more we keep playing and the more we keep listening to it and the more we have the artists who, that we, who sign up with us and who just wants to, perform, they love it. I mean, they absolutely love it. It's just a joy to do it.
Oh, great. We have one other question from one of our viewers that says, when is the correct time to start playing Christmas music? Because here they play it earlier and earlier every year. Eric Antley, one of our regulars, said sometimes they start before Thanksgiving. So when's the proper time to start doing Christmas music?
Well, I tell you what, there's no proper time to not. You could listen to Christmas music 24 hours a day, 7 days a week if you want to. But here's the thing I always say that in everything you do when it comes to holiday meals, or holiday movies or anything you do, everything must be done in moderation. Okay, I would say that I recommend probably doing it maybe the week of Thanksgiving because it kind of gets you into the holiday spirit. I think there's another question they were asking. When is the last time to stop listening to holiday music? Now, I would say you could probably stop listening to holiday music probably around, I would say January 6th, or if you're really into like the full season, because there's a holiday called Candlemas that ends on January 25th. That's usually officially when the actual holiday season ends. So you can always make it a kind of like a ceremony if you want to. Now, if you start listening to holiday music way back, like it goes all the way down to April, then I mean we might have a little bit of a problem. Maybe like, you might need some help. Step away, from the Christmas album. Step away from the Nat King Cole Christmas album. Okay, just
right.
You might want to probably wait until until like maybe the week of Thanksgiving is always fun. So
okay. Thom, go ahead. I see you're
I
back.
think you guys are going to have to take it because every time I start talking, I go out. So
Okay.
that's okay. We're having fun. This is great.
You may want to. You remember? I just remember last year. Hopefully, I'll stay on long enough to get this out.
Okay.
We came up with songs, and you told us the origin of those songs.
Sure. Yeah.
Real popular Christmas songs, whatever, and that would be a great little exercise to do.
Sure.
Little Drummer Boy.
Okay.
You gave us the background on the Little Drummer Boy. Yes,
I sure did. Matter of fact, that's actually, believe it or not, that's one of the songs that's going to be in our countdown this year. Where it's the songwriters were actually are based in New York. It's Catherine Davis. You got Henry or Terry. You have the Harry Simone, who is the famous Harry Simone chorale. But this year we're also adding a song called "Peace on Earth." It's actually Ira Sharp and Larry Grossman. They wrote this song. They wrote this song specifically during the 1977 Christmas special called "Merry Old England." It was Bing Crosby's last holiday special. I do remember watching it, and the reason why I remember watching it because when I was a little kid, I was a big fan of David Bowie. I loved his music. I was a rock person as a kid, and of course, my parents thought, "He's weird. Who's this kid? Who's this guy?" So, the story is basically they go to England. And he goes and Bing Crosby goes to his alleged family relations house. It was like this big manor in England. So, and David Bowie lived across the road. So he comes in. He plays. He comes in once in a while to play his piano. And one of the songs that they were going to sing was "The Little Drummer Boy." Now, here's the thing: when they were shooting the last special. David Bowie absolutely hated that song. He hated Little Drummer Boy. He just thought it was a corny song, and he really wasn't feeling it. So the songwriters decided, hey, I'm going to add a counter melody to the song, to Little Drummer Boy called "Peace on Earth." So they literally wrote this song, literally less than 24 hours when he was doing it. And one of the main reasons why David Bowie was actually on the show is because Bing Crosby's teenage kids were huge fans. And David Bowie wanted to be on the Bing Crosby show because his mother loved him. So they all had admiration and respect. It was considered one of the most unusual rock duets in music history, but it still stands the test of time. There was no actual physical single for the song until 1982. So it's like 40 years since they did the single of the song, and I've always loved it. I just thought it was like so unusual, but it's so worked. You're talking about multiple different generations. You're talking about one is from the greatest generation, one is from the baby boom generation, and they just came together and they had this magical moment that you rarely ever see. So it's kind of like the only time I've ever seen that was close to that is maybe I would say it'd be like Lady Gaga with Tony Bennett. Talking about two different generations, they don't really match, but when it came together, it just worked.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Eric, we have another question from a viewer. Antley asked, Mr. Jones, in your opinion, what is the popular version of Silent Night? He said he would think that it's the Temptations version.
Oh, okay.
What's your opinion?
It's all based on ethnicity. It depends on what you mean. What do you think is probably the best version of Silent Night? Yes, I say Temptations was great. It's always a lot of fun. You can't go wrong with it. That was 1970 when they did the version. That version is a very popular one. But believe it or not, there have been a lot of others. I would say I would even go further to Nat King Cole's 1961 version. That was pretty good.
Yes.
I thought that here's the thing that was really the most haunting version I've ever heard was 1969's Judy Collins version because it was a cappella.
Oh, wow.
And here's the thing that people need to understand about Silent Night. When it was originally written in 1818, the reason why the song was even written in the first place is because the famous church that was in Salzburg broke down. And, Franz Gruber and then there's Franz Gruber and Joseph Moore, who actually wrote the song, had to go back and had to recreate it because it was supposed to be this big, elaborate, a lot of strings, a lot of lot of instrumentation, and they just had to make it simple. So the original song that was sung in guitar. It was voice and guitar.
Wow.
So it was intended to be actually a quiet, intimate song. It was never meant to be over the top. If you hear anybody doing a song that's completely over the top, they're doing it completely wrong. It was never intended. But yes, I would say ethnicity. I would say in the Black American community, it would definitely be the Temptations. I mean, it's always popular. If everyone else, especially my non-melanated brothers and sisters, I'd probably say the best Silent Night would probably be. I would definitely say it would be Bing Crosby's version because it was very simple.
Okay. Great. Well, I got to ask you about my all-time favorite, Donny Hathaway, This Christmas.
Yes. Love that song. You know what? It was cool. That song was written in 1970. Donny Hathaway wrote it with lyricist Nadine McKinnon. We keep talking about Michael Jackson. It's like Nadine McKinnon actually wrote the lyrics for the song I Can't Help It from Off the Wall. That was Michael Jackson's one of his third solo records. And they wrote this song specifically because they wanted to create a song that celebrated the Black experience during the holiday season, and there was actually none. And what was kind of a cool fact that a lot of people don't realize that have you ever listened to that song maybe towards the end when you hear you think that Donnie is going to kind of vamp and rip kind of continue to sing. The song fades out. That was a mistake. That was an actual mistake. He was supposed to keep going. They messed it up. So they wind up keeping that mistake in the end of the song. I don't think anybody realized it. Yeah, that was a mistake. That was an intentional. That was a really bad mistake. They said, "Oh, no, just nobody will know impulse. Nobody."
Right. Wow. One of my favorites as a child was "I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus." Tell us about the history of that one.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, the original artist who sung it, unfortunately, he just recently passed away a couple of weeks ago. It's Jimmy Boyd. He's from Mississippi, and he recorded that song actually in 1952. At the time, he was about 13 years old. That song was actually it really put him on the map. He made him pretty much a well-known local singer. People don't even realize that he also married Yvonne DiCarlo, who was actually Batgirl in the Batman
Wow.
series. Yeah. So now a lot of people didn't know that either. So he was a teenager when he recorded that.
DiCarlo was on the Monsters.
Oh no! Oh, I'm sorry. What's the
She
name?
was on the Monsters. I don't know if you guys.
I'm thinking about it. It wasn't Yvonne DiCarlo, but it was Yvonne. But she was she was Batgirl. So her name is Yvonne, but it dawned on me on her last name. But I know that. Yeah, you're right about that. You're thinking about that. I was thinking about that too. So yeah, you're correct. But she did marry. Yeah, she did marry the woman who played Batgirl. And he was, it was one of his famous songs. He used to have a variety TV show in Jackson, Mississippi, and that was kind of his claim to fame in Jackson. Because I do remember when my family lived in Jackson for about a year, and he used to have his own show, and he used to have an old rockabilly kind of 50s style show, and he used to do a song annually every year. So I do remember that. I was like, that's what put him on the map.
Well, Eric, I have a question for you, and this is like asking a parent who's their favorite child if they have 10. But what's your favorite Christmas song?
That's a good one. Depends upon the mood. I break it down into three things. I put down in sacred, secular, and just plain kind of novelty. I would say sacred, hands down, is "Oh Holy Night." I love it. There's a historical ramification behind it because I feel like that song, it's a French song, is written by one was a poet, one was a classical composer, and he wrote it in the 1840s, and it was basically a song that was the kind of the trigger that helped the famous Christmas truce of 1914 during World War I. because this man was out in the middle of the trenches on Christmas Eve, sang this song on the French side, and basically all the fighting stopped. Then the Germans sang Silent Night. It was the first time that most of these Europeans ever even heard this song, because mostly those songs were actually local songs. They were just like local hits,
Right.
So that movie. Then the English started to sing a song called Ding Dong Maryland High. So it brought a lot of community. Men were playing football. Men were they drank wine. They smoked cigarettes. They hung out with each other. And then after Christmas Day, the fighting continued. It was right in the middle of no man's land. So that's why I like it. So that's one thing about Oh Holy Night I like about it, because it really brings people together.
Right.
I would say secular song, I would probably say the Christmas song, Nat King Cole. I would say that's my personal favorite, because every time I hear it, I feel like Christmas is here. So I love that very much. And there's a kind of a cool history behind that too, because Bob Wells, who wrote the lyrics, they wrote that song during the middle of summer with Mel Torme. It was hot in LA, and he was just so annoyed to the point that he had to write a new song. And then Mel Torme said, "Think cool thoughts." So the first lines that he wrote was "Chestnuts roasted in open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose," and hence history was made just by his uncomfortability. So that's how it started. So okay. I like that secular. Now, just flat out, just novelty, just irreverent kind of songs. They don't really play it a lot, but I used to hear a lot on rock stations. It was called Santa and His Old Lady. That's Cheech and Chong. So funny.
Oh.
Love that song. It's really like a sketch and stuff. So it was written like 50 years ago, 1972. The group just got started. They had their first comedy album, right? And it's basically just about, Cheech was like, Chong was hearing somebody coming into the room and he didn't know who it was. He thought somebody was robbing his house, but it actually was Santa Claus. So he started telling a story about that. And it's just funny to me. I love that song.
I have to look that one up, Eric.
Yeah, it's called Santa's Old Lady. That's what it's called.
Okay. Now, Eric, before we get too far, tell everyone how they can access the 25 Songs of Christmas and what to expect each day.
Okay, well, we have several outlets. We're going to be on all social platforms, everything from Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, as well as Facebook. We have our own pages. You can also check our own page at www.25songsofchristmas.com. We're the only one with that domain, and we're very happy about that because nobody's taking that. Also, we are excited that this year that we are going to be we're going to be on. We have our songs and our entire episodes is going to be on the Tuesday with Thom. We're excited about that. So you guys get a chance to watch that, all the episodes, and they're all wonderful. And then we also have our local digital channel in Houston called Joe TV. So we're doing that as well. And tomorrow, me and my sister, for the first time, we're actually going to be on a local Houston a TV talk show called Houston Life TV. We're very excited about that. So that's the first time we ever. Man, that's like a long time coming. So we're going to be. People can continue to ask me questions about holiday songs all the time. So that's what I do. I love it. I love giving you that inside information. So
that's great.
So we got all these different platforms. We're trying to reach out. So our dream is a million hits. We want a million hits. We want a million views.
Great, fantastic. So each year you come up with a different theme of Christmas song.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm not participating, but I keep cutting out.
That's okay.
So how do you go about deciding which theme that you're going to do a certain holiday season and collecting those songs to go in there?
Well, here's the thing we make it a point is that if we plan anything out, we always plan maybe 2 years in advance. So we planned this out probably back in 2020. So we knew that eventually we were going to do a Christmas around the world. So, well, we already know what our next 2 seasons are going to be probably in the next 2 years. When we pick certain songs, we make sure that we try not to do the same song that we did maybe within the last year and a half. We try to mix it up a little bit. Maybe put certain songs in circulation maybe once every 7 years, maybe every 6 years. But we want to try to keep it fresh, try to keep it original, keep on people on the edge of their seats and on edge of their toes. And if we're ever doing any planning any type of getting different types of artists, we want to make sure that the artists are diverse, because this year we have a circus team from Los Angeles this year, which is unusual.
Wow.
We have a dance group performing, which we always had dance groups. We also have a lot of musicians this year, so I'm excited to have actual musicians. So we want to try to make each performance and each artist and each song match their personality and put their own little spin on the songs.
Right.
Well, that brings up another question. How many Christmas songs are there in existence?
Woo, dear Lord. Okay, how much time do you have? This is like how many stars are in the sky. Let's say, I think of all the songs, I mean, here's the thing that's very interesting. When it comes to writing songs, there are probably actually more songs about the Christmas season probably than any other holiday in human history.
Wow.
I would say you're looking at maybe about, if I said that we had like maybe 10,000 Christmas songs, that's still not enough. There's still more. And some have gone, there are some songs that have been in existence actually since the 10th century, to songs that have just been that are like already downloaded on, they're already, you can purchase for downloads on iTunes for right now. And
Right.
so it all depends. But I would say that if I said 10,000, that I'm being very generous. There's a lot of holiday songs out there.
Wow.
Some wonderful, some absolutely terrible, and some are kind of somewhere in between.
Okay.
But you just have to, just sift through everything and to decipher what works and what doesn't work for you.
Okay. Great.
Are
Thank
you
you for
familiar
joining.
with Backdoor Santa?
Yes, Backdoor Santa. I love blues. I love blues songs. Blues Christmas songs are really cool. I've always been a fan of those. I like that and Charles Brown's Please Come Home for Christmas. I've always been a fan of those kind of songs. Yeah, they're always fun.
Okay.
Well, Thom, it's 9:58, so I don't know if you want to go into
Anybody
your
got anything else? Eric, you want to close us out with something?
Close us out with something. Okay. Well, I don't know. Well, I always don't do it alone. I do maybe like maybe the last verse of maybe say Silent Night. So let's try that.
Okay.
Okay. Said Silent Night, Holy Night, all is calm, all is bright, round young virgin mother and child, holy infant so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace.
Thank you.
Yes. Great.
Thank you.
I think he's frozen. Okay. All right.
Okay. Thom, you want to do your closeout?
Yeah, can you? I didn't know if you guys could hear me. Anyway, let's just close. That's Eric. We appreciate it, man. Thank you, the audience. We want to thank Michael Barber. Thank our sponsor, Best Girl. Thank Emily Hedrick, Sean Jones. Remember to enjoy yourself during this holiday season. Maybe we'll get this fixed at some point. Make every day count. Stay safe.